So today is my 42nd birthday, as advised as Goddess Nyx, NYX, and Goddess Styx, STYX. Currently, it is raining down. I just put on Instagram and Twitter. I sent out to a few people. First of all, I did the Joe Corello thing in order to save him for the mishap where he married some facially disfigured whatever. But it was all like a ruse, and it was falsely whatever. As usual, the fucking Mao Zedong children taking advantage of the good white kids. Joe being the good white kid, and the fucking Mao Zedong is the piece of shit he married. Just for paper, like I did with Tia Frio. Whatever. It's all fucking sandpaper where I come from, and they're all in my fucking eyes, and in my system. I've got like fucking squirrels in the attic, and like the military guys are going like, I don't know, is this a church, a state issue? Like, should we call like the feds? Should we call the U.S.? Is it an arm, a leg, a navel? Is it a men's issue, a women's issue, a gay issue? I don't know. God's on the line asking for some help, but I don't know. We're only humans. You are only human, and you are gonna fucking pay. Alright, so here's the thing. I put up Distrubed, Stricken, Stricken, Distrubed, Disturbed, for my Goddess Nyx, Goddes, Goddess Knox, Goddes, NYX plus KNOX for Fort Knox, FORTKNOX. And my Goddess Styx, GODDESSSTYX. Since I'm still living in NYC, which if I'm still living in the State Department of New York City at age 42, Alexander's not with me, and Disturbed is singing on my radio, and I have to do a shout out saying, you want redemption? It's a blood-stained fucking hurricane. It's in the lyrical divine wisdom that some band named Disturbed was granted or gifted in divine wisdom and stardom and playing out God's lyrics to the fucking shitbags that are fucking leading humans into another round of they lose more than they'll ever fucking gain in footage, and they're not fucking getting it because they think it's something else, and then they don't believe it, and it's because it's a mouse. It's like, wait, today we're this, tomorrow, that's because you took out the two law offices of ethical and can trust. One being the Soviet social awesomeness of the correct genetic in the correct Soviet office of Alexandrovich and Viktorovich. And those two were my two facial orientations for the Vatican to stay neat and tidy in Rome. And let's not hire anything from, I don't know, say Tibet, Nepal area. Niet spasiba. So now that we gave out visuals to the Pope holding on to the Catholic Church in my honor, thank you, since I'm both Holy Woman, Madonna, and I'm also the Devil incarnate. Oh my God, it gives me the divine Stations of the Cross, STATION. SOFTHECROSS. I saw some very dark colored child today. I mean, he's a full-grown adult. I asked him, as I do in my Goddess Styx records, and sometimes my Goddess Nyx records, when I have to go on a Helicon mission as Osiris and Isis. Isis wears a falcon head. A headdress, right? I mean, she's adorned in gold and sequins, and nobody knows what that means. And she's got a falcon head. A head of a bird usually means that they have flight, unlike anyone else. Now that you all stole flight and sailing, it gets confusing for your modern selves, right? See, the ancients is where we wrote the correct history in the Socrates, which they say Socrates. I heard a traditional Greek today. He said, we say Socrates. He was Orthodox Greek, by the way. And I said, okay. I said, I don't know. The Americans, they pronounce it Socrates. So Socrates or Socrates. And then there's Plato. Somebody else joked in Pluto, whatever. You have a long centurion relationship with myself where you have been disobeying, thinking you know better, changing my system, not following and obeying my exact requirements. Between the royals, being Elizabeth in the shitbag Anglo-Saxon only English-speaking cunt there is, confusing the rest of the fucking planet, why Nicole, Goddess Nyx, is way more important than her miniature queen status with her boys in the Royal British Air Force, who allowed the Mao Zedong children, the other white meat that is totally disallowed. They're not allowed to gain honor of any kind, because then you fed them. Now they're like, oh no, we earned honor. Not when it comes illegally, when you steal it from God. No, it's not honorable on any stretch of the imagination. God is completely disturbed by your incredible nature of having to gain ground and beat her into a pulp and into the floor like some really fucking creepy human. So that's number one. Why do I hate all the Asian children? Because if they travel outside of where they were born, or they use a phone, or they use any kind of light machine or equipment, I take that as a direct action against God. I had a conversation with a human today. First of all, in the song Distrubed, August 3rd is my birthday. It's also Alexander's immaculate birthday. I come immaculately two ways. One in a 3 and a 4 original birth for the mother and father of the beginning of time and the end of time. And also my immaculate second coming of Christ, which is another way of saying Alexander, also Nicklaus. But Alexander has a last name right now of Romer, Roemer, on paper only. He's Hitler's kid, so I don't really give a shit whether you believe me or not. He's Nicklaus, Nicklaus, Constance or Constantine. I'm not sure if I saw that he spelled it with a K at some point, but I know that when he was doing St. Nicholas work, he thought he was going to change it to a C because he has to do Klaus work for St. Nicholas as Santa Claus, Santaclaus in America, and then it's Klaus in Europe and Russia. Since Asia doesn't count, I do whatever I do, and they're dangerous at this point with how they keep buying something with all this newfound money you allowed them, with all the illegal services when they broke into the armed services, the naval force, and the air force, which they're not allowed in. But between the money that they stole, the opportunity that they stole from every good Russian, Poland, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and American, and Canadian for this point, with the help of Elizabeth, by the way, sitting in the Sea of Tranquility and does absolutely fucking nothing. And then there's commanders that can change things, but then they don't listen to when their days are misprogrammed and what to do and what not. It helps that the Asians, with the facial disfigurement, and the blacks, by the way, ganged up together against all the white kids that thought that their best friends were blacks and Asians, right? Yeah. It helps when the enemy gangs up on your stupidity of not being in the know when they know more than you do, and they keep the truth from the white people that are just being taken left and right. So let's see. That's pretty much how they took over telecommunications. So this is what I told Harold, whose father spoke 7 languages, and he's from Budapest, I think, or Hungary, or I don't know, somewhere. Harold, however, not so lucky. He's American, and he speaks English. So, let's think about this. So in that sense, I lost my train of thought. Oh boy, Helicon is not helping me right now. I told him today, right, I said, I think he was there. Maybe he was there. Maybe he wasn't. Oh, maybe it was Rocco. I told Rocco, Rocco. He's from Indiana, or he was in Indiana for a while. I asked him, I said, what's the deal with Notre Dame? And he said, that's the hunchback. I said, the hunchback, right? I was like, and he said, oh, it's from Notre Dame. I'm like, yeah, where's Notre Dame? He says, well, it's Indiana. I'm like, right, but there's another one, right? France. So France is where the church, Church, like the old cathedral, Notre Dame, right? Just had a fire within my lifetime, right? That's in France, France. And then you've got the Notre Dame College, College, which is like Escuela, like non importante, in Indiana, and they have Hunchback of Notre Dame problem because they were called out on the Fidelis last semester or last generation for letting American Indians, being Korean, but had been on the Fidelis too long in America, they allowed them to touch metal in the U.S. that was in .A that was already under surveillance and already charged with allowing the enemy to live freely in the United States of America as a unit skin that belongs elsewhere because there's other bigger problems, and they let the American Indian take jobs away from the traditional American, meaning the Western or Eastern European American. And of course, Russia is included in the Eastern and Western European namesake, depending on the level of Soviet socialite, for this purpose of conversation, since your humans are so fucking broken that they actually broke into the afterlife, and I actually have to literally throw people into some near-death experience, NDE, as goddess sticks, in order to pull them away for, I don't know, like a 15-hour surgery, just to have like a couple of like humans that can come back to their bodies, not be totally maimed, by the way. I don't do maiming. Just so this way they can have a mental connection to wherever I took them to interview them, and the service member at somewhere in hopefully godly places, who knows who the fuck Nicklaus and I are, in my law firm, can interview the person and ask them for full details. So there's some kind of human verification. So now you've got a person that I brought over to the other side with Goddess Stick's permission. The humans knew about it, that it was going to happen. It was allowed and permissible. They were then, I swore I would bring them back and put them back in their body. They never want to come back to Earth, ever. When I pull an NDE out, it's like a library at the Library of Alexandria. It's like you knock them out with whatever, but you don't kill them or maim them. You just put their body on ice or whatever and let the doctors play and practice and pretend they're doing shit, which they're always so proud. They're like, oh my God, she came back. She's totally okay. It was all me. Right. Yeah, of course it was. But the person who was unconscious saw themselves on the ceiling, right? Mittenach, that would be my local Goddess Stick's name. I would come take them and bring them to wherever we gotta go. For our Halacon moment in time between space and where I belong. Which is why I fucking hate being here permanently with you idiots. There's no need. I mean, you don't acknowledge me, you only hurt me, so I'd rather go back to where I belong. We came here in order to help you out, but clearly you don't need help because you're doing like a bang-up fucking job all on your own, stupid fucking humans. Alright, so I took her out of the library. We call it the Library of Alexandria. I only do that in order to have them come back and tell other people about it and document it on my behalf to give myself legitimacy, since you're all against God for some reason, and her immaculate son and her immaculate husband. And that's what's covered under the NDA and the NDE. That's the only time you have an NDE is when I need to take somebody out of their human form to go to godly places for a few, to have them come back to give the humans some kind of human verification on document so they can explain it to one another that gods do exist and they're here, and what we fucking need are the humans.